Chapter 6, The Human Beast. Begin all acts and thinking by using Al-Haadi. Tablet 15, the Dajjal. 19 times 28 equals 532. Lo, in latter days he shall appear in the flesh, his companion, the sign of the concealers of the truth, only to the eyes of the purified ones. His mark will be in your right hand, the symbol of the evil one, 666, the number 666. The three stages of the number 666, a gift for the barterers with Azazel, rather than accepting the truth, the 613 commandments. In reality, the facts must be found only with the realization that there are no numbers in ancient Hebrew, but rather the 10 first letters. Thus, 666 is Zayn Zayn Zayn, simply Zionist the Rothschilds. Benjamin Disraeli, Moses Montefiore, Rabbi Kalisha of Thorn, Moses Hess, Karl Marx, Arnold Rouge, Jacob Venede, Frederick Lassell, Gabriel Risso, Lord Redding Isaacs, Herbert Samuel, Asher Ginsberg, Nathan Birnbaum, Theodore Hertz, Mac Norde, Chaim Weizmann, Nahum Sokolow, Louise Brandeis, Alfred Mond, Samuel Untermeyer, Leon Blum, Albert Einstein, Helen Blavatsky, Adam Weishaupt, Martinez Pasquale, George Felt, Albert Pike, Adolf Hitler, King Saud and Richard Nixon, 30 in all, and their many sons, daughters and devotees, Zion, 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 666, Z-Ion, the nucleus of light and fire. He, Azazel, led into ignorance those that dwell on the planet Earth by way of his signs, which he, the Antichrist, does right in front of the beast. This is saying to all who dwell on the planet Earth that they should make a picture of the beast, which was hit with a sword but lived. He had power to give spirit to the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many of the people who would not worship the image of the beast would be killed. The beast caused all nations of the people, both big and small, rich and poor, free and enslaved, to get a stamp on their right hand or in the space between their eyes, so that no one would be able to buy or sell except for those who had the stamp or the name of the living beast or the number 666 of his name. This is true wisdom, so let him that have a good mind count the number of the living beast, for it is the number of a human being, and his number is 666. After that I saw another Anunnaki, those who Anu sent from heaven to key earth, descending down from Casil Orion skies, and he had great authority, and the planet Earth was lit up by his brilliance. He cried in with a great voice saying, Babylon the big is fallen, and it has become the dwelling place of demons, and the prison of every unclean and hated bird, because all nations have drunk of the intoxicant of her punishment of her fornication, and the rulers of the planet Earth have become very rich by way of her luxuries. And I heard another voice from the Kessel Orion sky saying, Leave her, O my kindred, so that you don't become a binder of partners with her in her sins, so that you all will not get her plagues. For her sins have piled on top of each other, so that they reach right up to the Kessel Orion skies, and the Theos remembers her wrongdoing. Reward her the like she rewarded you, and give her twice as much as the likes of her own works in a glass, which is mixed with a mixture of her own sins, as she glorified herself, and lived luxury and comfort, as that, give her suffering and weeping, because she says in her heart, Surely I sit a queen, and I am not a widow, and I am not going to experience any sadness. Just for that, her plagues will come in one day. There will come death and weeping and starvation, and she will burn by a fire, because Anu, he who is above, the heavenly one, has power, and he has passed judgment on her. There will be crying and weeping because of her. The rulers of the planet Earth, who fornicated with her and enjoyed the comforts of life, when they see the smoke of her fire burning, and standing from far distances, because they are in terror of her torment, saying, Plague, plague is the great city Babylon, the city which had so much power. Just because of 1 hour has come your judgment. The businessmen of the planet Earth will cry and weep because of her, because no one will buy any merchandise from them anymore. The merchandise of gold and of silver, and precious stones and pearls, and silks of purples and silks of red, all kinds of expensive woods, and every pottery from ivory, and every pottery of precious stone, and brass and iron and marble, and cinnamon, and merchandise of frankincense and perfumes, and intoxicants and oils and fine flour, and wheat, and livestock and sheep and horses, and chariots and slaves, and every spirits of nation of people. Fruits that your spirit lusted after are separated from you, and all kinds of things which are small and needed disappeared. The things which made the businessmen rich are now standing far away from them because of the fear of pain that they cry and weep, saying, "Plagued, plagued is the great city, which was wrapped in silk and purple, and red-colored mast of gold and precious stones and pearls. Because in 1 hour she will be destroyed, her great riches and her leaders, and all those who accompany with sailors and ships, and all who work in the sea, they too will stand far away." They all cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, "Who resembles this great city?" And they cast dust upon their heads, and cried in a loud crying, weeping, saying, "Plagued, plagued, at last a great city, with whom they all became rich, which had ships in the sea from buying by way of her costliness. Because of this, in 1 hour it will be destroyed. So be happy because of her, O you who are in the Orion skies, O you who are the holy apostles and prophets, news bearers, because Anu sentenced her for you." There rose a strong Anunnaki with a very large millstone, and he cast it into the sea, saying, "By violence will this city Babylon receive her destruction, and will she not be found any more after that? From now on, we won't hear any sound of the plagues, nor of the harpers, nor of any musicians, nor any flutes, nor any trumpeters, and of no craftsmen or any skills of any kind will be found in you. And the sound of the millstone won't be heard in you after this. The light of the lamp will not shine any more in you after that. And the voice of the bridegroom and the bride will not be heard in you after that. And your businessmen, who are the heads of the planet Earth, by way of their sorceries, they have deceived all nations. In her can be found the blood of the prophets and the holy ones, and all who were killed in the planet Earth. 6 being in perfection, because 6 days is 1 day short of a week, which consists of 7 days. 7 being perfection, the 6 being 1 short of 7. 9 being total, complete, and without need. There exists a sacred formula overstood on many density levels. To function as a mathematical Ankh, the formula is expressed. As I was taught that the higher evolution is working with the grid structure of the Great Ahram pyramid. The Ahram uses this formula to coordinate the Great Ahram with the other grids of celestial light. The formula includes the following mathematical arrangements: 131, 111, 939 and 919, wherein 1 and 9 are imposed upon the same space. This arrangement is used to create electromagnetic propagation functions in the midst of the lattice formation. The inscribed words of Elyon El, the Most High, deem 7 perfect, because the Mother Earth was created in 7 periods called days, 7,000 years to 1 day, 7 last plagues in Babylon. Be you so ever careful of this great beast, who is the master of flattery and deception, for in that day you will have forgotten what or who the evil one be, or how he will come. You think only in terms of vision. A jewel, meaning his mark, triangular interlocking triangle, that is a pair of 3s, called the Mogan Dawid, Star of David, and the jewel people will bear it. The eye above the pyramid, Pira means fire, and mid means in our midst, giving order to chaos, e pluribus unum, or out of one many. The Great Seal in Sanskrit, the language of the Indra, or the disagreeable beings who came to earth with their chaos. The Great Seal is said Mahamudra, and stands for the union of all apparent dualities, and the supreme joy that comes with the realization of the mystical unit. Mahamudra equals Mohammedan, and the invasion of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the shrines, and this began by the first test: are you the noble of the mystic shrine? I have travelled the Arabic path, and at what shrine did you worship? At the shrine of Islam. The Arabic order of nobles of the mystic shrine was instituted by the Mohammedan Caliph Ali, may his name be praised. This Caliph Ali is not to be mistaken with the real Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abu Talib, husband of the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, Hadrat Fatima. Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abu Talib was he who carried the real seal of the real Prophet Mustafa Muhammad al-Amin, which was the 6-pointed star and upright crescent as seen on the ancient bannerhead. Their Ali is the son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad, that being the false Muhammad, whose proper name was Muslimat ibn Habib al-Hanafi. In the year Hijrah at Mecca, Arabia, worshipful master of Scottish rites of Freemasonry, referred to as the Masonic Lodge, William J. Florence made the link in Arabia in 1871 AD and placed it in the hands of Dr. Walter M. Fleming. He, with William J. Florence, with Edward Eddy, with Sherwood C. Campbell, with Oswald Merley de Orbein, with George W. Miller, with John A. Moore, with William S. Patterson, with John W. Simmons, with Albert Pike Moriarty, with Daniel Sickles, with James S. Chappell, and Charles T. McLennican, established the Sacred 13, the secret number, as found as the seal Mahamudra or Mohammedan in the back of the dollar bill, found as 13 steps on the pyramid, 13 letters in Annuae Coeptus, 13 stars forming the 6-pointed star, 13 5-pointed stars equaling 65, which is 11 for the 11 tribes of Canaan, 13 stripes, 13 olives, 13 olive leaves and 13 arrows, symbolic of the original 13 colonies, the phoenix bird transformed into the eagle. You have the eye above the pyramid, absent of the cornerstone, for the eye sits in the cornerstone. The eye of Osiris, father of Horus, husband to Isis, who is called Dina, Artemis, Phoebe, Cynthia, Sybil, Ishtar and Astaroth. She is the symbol of the crescent moon. The ancient Greeks used the crescent as an emblem of the universal mother of all living things, the virgin mother of all souls. The jewel of the order is a crescent formed of the claw of the Royal Bengal tiger, united at their base in a golden setting, which includes their tips and bears on one of the sides of the center the head of the Sphinx. On the other side of the pyramid urn, a 5-pointed star publicly, 6-pointed star privately. They greet with Assalamu Alaikum, which is returned by Alaikum Assalam, and the motto is strength and fury, called the Order of the Eagle or the Skull and Bone, with the great owl as their overside, and the eye of the owl as a symbol. The light renders the alumni a member of the Illuminati, but a new light other than the fire is here. The keys to future luminaries are called the Ancient and Mystic Order of Melchizedek, electromagnetic forces. These forces affect the rhythms of life and the appearance and extinction of a species within the Earth's magnetic field. The higher evolution will give a better understanding of how electric forces alter biological rhythms. This will allow Adamites in this consciousness time zone to receive whole light beings who will give instruction of the next ordering of evolution in our universe. The key speaks of how Earth's species has a direct light arc. This direct light focuses which controls its biological rhythms. Enoshites will soon learn that his life system is not directly dependent upon the solar magnetic field to regenerate their biological rhythms. A new source of light is now reaching our solar system and interpenetrating Earth's magnetic field, altering the biological rhythms. Its color is emerald green light, contrary to the red amber light. This is forcing the species to leave behind its old time cell of perceptions on the physical, emotional, mental and spiritual levels. This must take place before the species can go into a new time cell of consciousness. As the arcs of light begin to change, a different life force is beginning to work with the electromagnetic forces. This is causing the magnetic fields of the brain cavity to be sufficiently raised to a higher mental frequency, allowing the Enoshites to receive the whole light beings upon the reinsertion of the Bathory gland and the reactivation of the supreme melanin. It has been previously thought that the light forces of the Earth's magnetic field control the rhythms of life of all biological species, and all living cells only need the light of our own portion of the electromagnetic spectrum to survive. Enoshites will have the brain of an electromagnetic computer and will be forced to adapt to an enlarged electromagnetic spectrum. The new electromagnetic frequency is an astrobiological threshold by itself. Your sun, by virtue of being a variable star, will be seen as having great limitations for future evolutions. This will be seen by a visible exchange of the solar polarity fields and by the magnetic mapping of the inner solar magnetic lines rotating faster than the surface of the sun. These exchanges will also affect the rotation of Anshar Saturn. This will be seen as a periodic effect which will be noticed in the activity of the band of Anshar Saturn called its rings. These exchanges are a result of the biological light that controls the being, induced by a new administrative order in conjunction with the Council of Nine Ether. These exchanges are necessary to prepare our mortal evolution to overlap with whole light beings of advanced creation in the evolution of new astro mutations. New astro mutations will take place where new magnetic lines bring about the balances in the energy, coupling from a proton-electron-proton grid to an electron-proton-electron grid. Here, the bioenergy field of the body inherits a new electron and proton pair, and the blood circulatory system inherits new magnetic lines of force. The ionized field around the blood cell loses its proton-electron-proton relationship to a new electron-proton-electron field as the life form is moved into the next phase of the electromagnetic spectrum. In other words, Enoshites will be able to participate in higher evolutionary worlds because his hemoglobin chain will shift with his phylogenetic tree to a new system of balance. In order for Enoshites to work with the next electron orbital level of the universal mind, your molecular density level will have to become less dense and grow more transparent. Enoshites must be completely remade anew by going through the energy grid that controls his present biological arrangement so that he can be revitalized into new grids of attunement. The Enoshite must go through the energy grid, controlling cell division on his biological level of organization, a planetary biomagnetic grid controlling the collective species of evolution. When Enoshites go through these energy grids, they will activate the new magnetic fields, and they will dissipate his old planetary biorhythms. Contrary to what present-day geneticists say, the ultraviolet radiation will be controlled, and it will not destroy the sensitive genetic code, coded melanin. It has already been claimed that ultraviolet radiation, when applied to DNA at specific intensities, causes thymine to dimerize. When the embryonic growth is placed in an artificial environment, which is subject to prolonged current magnetic injection, the former embryonic magnetic lines of force in the body can be changed. Through this process, the whole body can biomagnetically be re-encoded to adapt to a new biological environment without ever having to experience pain according to the human physiological network. This process uses a fifth circulatory system, which opens the pain encoding mechanism and properly realigns the blood, lymphatic and nervous circulatory systems to function in different biological environments. This is done in the event that a transfer of the species to a new environment is necessary for the survival of the Nuwarpians. This is why our electromagnetic stage of evolution will itself be changed to allow for new patterns of ongoing evolution. Merkaba mechanisms give the cue for the timing of the biological change by Earth's magnetic cycles. These changes can take place in a matter of hours and remove whole species that have evolved in a geological time frame. In order for Enoshites to work with the next electron orbital level of the universal mind, the All, your molecular density will have to become less dense and grow more transparent in order to participate in multidimensional realities. Enoshites must be completely remade anew, thus you have Nuwarpian, or new being. Specifically, Enoshites must go through the energy grid, controlling cell division on his biological level of organization. Before the larger electromagnetic change happens, Enoshites will also understand how new growth effects will be the result of electromedicine, which uses electromagnetism. Enoshites, by using the light surgery of electromagnetic penetration into bone marrow, will be able to create new bone growth. Your planet Earth is no different than any other form of life that must renew itself. It is like an energy molecule going through a renewal and being restored to a new existence. This is called the entropy of Gaia. All of this must be understood that you may, through the ancient and mystical order of Melchizedek, learn to raise your density level, as well as stimulate your melanin to awaken dominant energies of divine, making it impossible for you to be mentally enslaved. This will help you create what is called psychic self-defense. Important be it the distinction between the mark of the concealers of truth and the mark of the faithful. The first be the Mu'min, the faithful. Their mark be on their foreheads by striking their head upon the ground in worship. I don't mean like the Mohammedans. As we reveal to our servant Ahmed in the Quran, the 48th degree, 29th verse, Muhammad is a Rasulah of the source, El-Elo and those that are with him are strong, firm, and against the concealers of the facts. Yet they have a yielding mercy between themselves. You see them bowing and prostrating, desiring the preference from the source El-Elo and content pleasure. Their marks are in their faces, from the traces of prostration, that is their likeness in the law of Moses, Thutmose, and Aaron and Joshua, the Torah and their likeness in the Evangel revelations, given to Jesus Christ as the seed of a plant that bring forth a stalk, so it supports it, and after it becomes thick and strong and stands upright on its own trunks. It amazes the planter, so that he, the planter, by way of it, would enrage the Kaffir concealers of the facts, for the source El Elo was promised for those who have faith and work to perfect themselves from amongst themselves, and the rewards from them were the supreme reward. In the writings given to Yahshua Tammuz, the pamphlet of Revelation, the 7th degree, 3rd verse. And this Anunnaki of this craft was saying, don't harm the planet Earth, nor the sea, and none of the trees until the servants of El Elo Anu have been marked on their foreheads. The seal of Elion Elion El, the Most High, be the mark of distinction, impressed upon the forehead of the enduring righteous, as a result of constant prostration and prayer. These be the upright people, the faithful seed of our servant Abraham, who are the true ones of peace, congregation of the resurrected 144,000, and Saru Anu, Al-Mumin the faithful, who prostrate before Anu, and they bear the mark of prostration, Sajjah. The sons of Shaitan will be the second. They will have the mark of the beast, 666 on their right hand, or on their forehead. The mark being multiple digits calculates as 666. The symbol of the Babylonian visa, political and religious power, had the number cleverly repeated in its measurement, it being the image of an old beast, having the number of his name. Also the letter S, whose birth is in the serpent, the hiss will be in his name, the sound of a snake. Given the numerical value of 6 in the coinage, the letter S in series on 3 on emblems. Using 6 ounces of brain waves, when 7½ ounces of brain power should be used. The brain weighs 52 ounces. The figures of the image are made clear in what we gave to one of our servants Daniel, 12 chapters of the writings of the prophet of Daniel, in the 3rd degree, 1st verse, revealed in 536 BCE reads, Nebuchadnezzar the ruler made an idol of gold, whose weight was 90 feet by 9 feet, and he set it up in the plain of Dura, the dwelling, in the province of Babylon called Iraq today. The followers of Dajjal, the sons of Shaitan, will be impressed on their foreheads as if it was stamped with a ray of light. A laser will be used to place the engraved mark on the space between the eyes, the forehead, or on the hands of his followers, or injected beneath the skin. If you beg his wealth and not work, you will be numbered. Also your newborns will be numbered. Those who took the mark of the beast, and those who prostrated to his image, both of them were cast alive into the lake of fire, which is burning with sulfur, and the rest of them were killed with a sword, which came out of the mouth of him that sat on the horse, and all the birds were filled from the flesh of them. As for the true Ansaru Anu, this is their promise. And I saw seats, so they that were sitting on them were given the wisdom. And I saw the spirit of those who were killed, for bearing witness to the Messiah Jesus, and the word of Anu, he who is above the heavenly one, and those who did not worship the beast, nor to his picture, and did not get the mark on their foreheads or their hands, and they shall live and become rulers with the Messiah for 1,000 years. It has been prophesied that the Dajjal has numbers and controls the beast, the computer that calculates the numbers of the Enoshite 666. In that day, all Enoshites will use the computer, and it will spit forth a ray of light, a laser. The computer works in multiples of 9, that's ones and ciphers. Together it makes 9. The binary codes of 9, the 9th power of 9, will give the new hologramic computer no limitations. In reading the numerals horizontally across, vertically up and down, and in diagonal on all sides. 3 is the square root of 9. The joining lines reveal the 8-pointed star and the inverted 5-pointed star, ram's head, symbolic of satanic worship. The numerals in sets of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20 form a Christian cross. The numeral 5 is that numeral. 1 is either added or subtracted. The numeral 6 results. An example of this is 987654 and then 123456. The number of the beast, the number 666, is seen in the center of the diagonal boxes. The 6 is trapped within the 4 5s in the center of the diagram. It illustrates how to trap the devil. One of his signs is the pentagram, 5-pointed star, the sign of the cloven hoof. Even with the moon at its feet, or back or side or head, the goat of Mendi sat with 2 points up. The worship of Shaitan is called tetragrammaton, with continuously interlocking lines. One name of the beast is Leviathan, meaning Levi, equaling law, and Athan equaling sin, simply the laws of sin, also called the spell of Kingu, or serpentine, a beast of imperfection, Hassa, which means driven away in defeat. The mark of the beast on the cover of Truth's forehead is the original mark given to Cain and his descendants. The The story of Cain and Abel describes how the evil in the Adamites had become so great that he would denounce the Elohim Gabriel Nusku Yahuwah and take the life of his own brother. The Elohim Gabriel Nusku Yahuwah placed a mark in the form of a cross on Cain so that he would be identified and thus nobody would kill him. The cursive design on the original swastika reads in the Warbic, Ya Fatah, which translates as O Opener, Victorious, is written on all sides. This figure has been referred to as a grammadian. In Ashuric Arabic, this mark be called Samat. In Aramaic Hebrew, it's called Ath. In Greek, the mark is called Haragma, meaning a signal, sign, mark or graven. In India, this mark would be the swastika. The word swastika is a derivative of swasti, which comes from the word su, meaning well, and the verb asti, which means it is. According to Buddhist tradition, the swastika represents the first of the 65 marks which distinguish the master's feet. The Nandiwata is similar to a structure containing an intricate network of winding passages, maze. The two soles of the feet of Buddha had two symbols of the swastika on it. This symbol is held sacred by the Buddhists. It represents the soles of the feet of Osiris. Osiris's body was mutilated into 14 parts, some say 16. His head, his arms, his heart, his interior, his tongue, the soles of his feet, his bones, his arms, his eyes, his fists, his fingers, his back, his ears, his body, etc. The Anglo-Saxons called the mark Flyfot, from the Norse Fyle, meaning foot. This is significant of the numerous feet in illustrations depicting homosexuality. The shape of the swastika symbolizes that the male is meant to work the earth and to submit and serve the sustainer, and the female is in the position to receive the uterus pains of childbirth and to breastfeed. The Iron Cross, which is derived from the swastika, symbolizes homosexuality. Our noble servant Ahmed has prophesied that there would be a people amongst his followers that would be coverers of the truth. Though they bear the title Muslim and prostrate to Elyon El, the Most High, they are only using Islam to shield their diabolical innermost secrets. It is said, he that lusts after money and flattery by the flatterer surrenders his soul. Remember the Quran, which our servant Ahmed received, stating that wealth and the offspring of the concealers of truth shall not save him from Elyon El, the Most High. They shall be driven to hell, as was received by our servant Ahmed in the Quran, 3rd degree, 10th verse. Surely, those who conceal what they know to be facts, by no means will neither wealth nor their children suffice, and save them from the source Anu in any way. And these are those who shall be fuel for the fire. A mushrik is one who sets up partners with Elyon El, the Most High. The Wahhabis apply the term mushrik to any Muslim who observes ceremonies that are not clearly enjoined in the precepts of Islam. For example, visiting shrines, believing in the Trinity, or being an atheist. A mulhid, one who abandons the faith. From an apostate, one who deviates from the truth, is another type of concealer. Apostasy is defined as abandoning what one had faith in, as a faith, principle, or cause. Ikrimah, a recorder of what our servant Ahmed spoke and did, state, apostates were brought to the Khalifa, Amir al-Mu'min Ali, and he burnt them alive. But Ibn Abbas heard of it, and he said the Khalifa had not acted rightly. For the prophets had said, punish not with Allah's punishment, but whoever changes his religion, kill him with the sword. These are the words of the blind leading the blind. For if one finds the faithful religion they were born in is not the total truth, then by all means abandon it and seek the truth. A Zundik is defined as a free thinker, atheism, cover of the truth in the world to come, and inner deity, or the unity of the Creator. The Zundik are a sect of Islam who say that the world is eternal and there is no judgment. A Munafiq, the hypocrite, was the name given to those coverers of truth during your noble servant Ahmed's time, who outwardly professed to have faith in his mission, and they secretly denied. Those who dwell in his holy land Mecca today do not have faith. They are the biggest of hypocrites, as was revealed to Ahmed in Al-Quran in the 6th degree, 5th verse. So indeed they, the desert Arabs, denied the facts beyond the shadow of a doubt, the scriptures and tablets when it came to them. So there shall come unto them the tidings of what they used to make a mockery about. When you came to them with clear proof of all the scriptures and the religion of Abraham, they make a mockery about the Israelites portion of the scripture and exalt the Ishmaelites portion. And again in Al-Quran, the 9th degree, the 97th and 98th verse. The desert Arabs are the most severe concealers of the facts, and the most hypocritical, the worst. They don't know the limits of what was sent down by the source El-Elo upon his Rasulat one sent Muhammad, and the source El-Elo is the knower, the wise, and from the Arabs of the desert, red Arabs who take what they share willingly as a lost regret, and they wait for all to be afflicted, but the affliction will be upon them and the evil. El-Elo is the hearer, the all-knowing. It makes it clear that the desert Arabs who are working with the Illuminati are hypocrites. It is again in El-Quran, the 9th degree, the 99th and 100th verse. It makes it clear that the Nuwarpian Arabs are those who have faith. And of the Arabs, Nuwarpian Arabs, there are those who have faith in the source El-Elo and the last day, and they shall take the offerings which they share willingly in El-Elo's presence, and salutations of the one sent Muhammad. Except surely it is an offering for them, and the source will cause them to enter into his yielding mercy. Surely the source El-Elo is forgiving, most merciful. They were the intents of the chapter of the hypocrite. He conceals in his heart another religion of Mammoth, which is wealth, power and greed. And Murtad, renegade, apostate of Islam, or one who abandons the faith, is another kafir, concealer, a Dari, materialist, atheist, freethinker. This cover of truth believes in the eternity of matter and asserts the world will always be. And lastly, that day of resurrection and judgment day, it will never come. Lastly, Watani. A Christian is a heathen or a graven image worshipper. Iusis is the Greek interpretation for Jesus. He was of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. Zeusus, also spelled Zeus, is simply Jesus, not the Antichrist. Masa al-Dajjal is the lying Christ, cover of truth. He is the Antichrist. The interlocking kafs illustrate the swastika, or the mark that was placed on the forehead of Cain, cover of truth. Kafir is a form of ignorance, and the Kafirs is Dajjal, the Antichrist. Our servant Ahmed prophesied that the Dajjal would rise up in these last days. 70,000 people from among my followers will follow the Dajjal. And I saw a person with short curly hair, whose right eye was blind, and I asked, who is this? I was told it was the Antichrist. The following quote indicates that the Dajjal will be visible, and with him will be a stream of fire, and they work all over the earth. The Dajjal will make his appearance, and with him will be stream and fire. Whoever plunges into his stream, his burden becomes dew, and his burden is removed. The fire is smokeless fire, which Elion El created the devil from, representing negativity and imperfection. It will be those wrongdoings and imperfections that the devil will make fair seeming to those who be ignorant and cover the truth. Whoever plunges into his stream, his burden becomes dew and his reward vanishes. This means those who plunge or willingly accept Shaitan's evil ways will lose or forfeit his reward with Anu Elion El in paradise. And whosoever enters his fire is in reference to the ones of peace who have come in contact or have to enter his fire, but his faith in Anu Elion El as creator alone will keep him from being consumed by the fire. In the time of the Dajjal, the true believer will be in the world, but not of the world. A saying of our noble servant Ahmed, behold, he will be blind in one of his eyes, and between his two eyes is written Kafir. It is said that he will be the third sign of the coming of the resurrection. From where he be? From Mount Safa and Marwa at Mecca. It is said that the appearance of the beast, which shall rise out of the earth in the temple of Mecca or on Mount Safa, this beast will be 60 cubits high and will have a compound of various species, having the head of a bull, the eyes of a hog, the ears of an elephant, the horns of a stag, the neck of an ostrich, the breast of a lion, the color of a tiger, the back of a cat, the tail of a ram, the legs of a camel, and the voice of an ass. Many evil people will come together in Arabia to fight and shed blood on earth. She will appear 3 times in several places, and she will bring with her the rod of Moses and the seal of Solomon, and being so swift that none can overtake her or escape her will. The first strikes all the faithful on the face and marks them, and the coverers of truth on the face likewise with the word Kafir, that every person may be known for what he really is. The same beast is to demonstrate the vanity of all religions. It is recorded that our noble servant Ahmed said, when the Dajjal appears, his complexion will be white, and his right eye will be blind, while the left eye will shine like a bright star. Who is Dajjal? A swindler, a cheat and an impostor. He will cover the earth with the largeness of his numbers. He will say things which are contrary to what is in his mind, and he will cover his real intentions with falsehood. Dajjal is a physical being who exists on the earth. He is the physical devil. Remember our servant Ahmed, who received the Quran, the 20th degree, 102nd verse, stating, "On this day, the last day, in which the trumpet will be blown by the Allahum Raphael, we the Anunnaki will gather the guilty blue-eyed. There will be a Dajjal in Europe, cursed, possessing the evil spirit of Azazel, devil, Shaitan, Lucifer." Dajjal began his retakeover in the lunar login in the year 1966 of the Gregorian calendar. Since then, he has been growing in numbers and power. His voice will be heard all over the world. This is not the physical voice of the Dajjal, but the voice of radio and television. Today it is called the Internet, an international network for communication and control, and now recently Telstar, which can be heard directly from one end of the world to the other. His followers die not easily, too strong, but the stronger the faith of the faithful ones, the sooner he and his numbers will not be. They will discover earthly treasures, comfort or luxury. This is why our servant Ahmed said, "The brightness of the left eye, love of life and luxury is to divert man from the straight path and take him to hell." It is recorded that our servant Ahmed saith, "Some will unseeingly accept his flatteries out of ignorance, and some they say for the sake of survival." Dajjal has you believing, if you don't put your trust in the devil's system and follow his lifestyle, you will not be able to buy or sell those things which are considered valuable in his society. It's called sanctioning. If you are a true Muslim, striving to return to the bosom of the Creator, then this is the most valuable thing to you. That undying need for material things will decrease in your life. The evil one provides for those who sell their souls to him, whereas El, the Most High, provides for those who are true to him. Only the faithful will be able to see the evils and falsehoods of the Dajjal. He will have the whole world deceived except the very elite. Only they will know who he, the Dajjal, is. Polaris is the brightest star in the constellation Ursa Minor, Big Bear. Polaris breaks down to Pol and Aries, Aries the ram, sign of the devil. Polaris be also known as the North Star. Sirius is another bright star in the constellation Canis Major. It is the center of attraction. Other names for bright stars were, amongst the ancient Romans, Hesper, evening. Amongst the ancient Greeks, Hesper, evening west, morning star, Phosphor, Aldebaran, and Lucifer shone brighter than all the rest of the heavenly hosts. While he was bright amongst the agreeable Elohims, his name was Halal, or Azazel, the bondman of El, the Most High. Then when he fell, he became Iblis, Shaitan the Destroyer, Beelzebub, Belial, Prince of Darkness, the Wicked One, the Dragon Father of Sin. He was the son of Tarnush, the Great Evil One, created before Cadman. The Greeks called it Cyrannosaurus, or Dog's Tail. Related to Cyrannosaurus is Cynosaur, which means center of attraction. The original Canaanite has labeled the top of the earth, which tells you about Shaitan and how he attracts all things to himself. Where can be found Polaris? 2 stars on the outer edge of what you call the Big Dipper point, the Way. At the North Celestial Pole in the heavens, 1 degree from the North Pole, is an opening to the underworld Shambhala, the city of Agartha, wherein many beings from inner and outer space live. North Geographical Pole, near the center of the Arctic Ocean, latitude 66.6, the number of the beast, the place of the abyss. All points on Earth lead to the devil. Instantaneous North Pole, the point where the Earth axis meets the surface, or the devil's doorway. Your Earth wobbles as it turns on its axis, shifting the devil's doorway. North Pole at balance locates North Geographical Pole, moving slowly towards America, where be located some of the devil's capitals, where his followers will be able to call him forth instantly at his doorway. North Magnetic Pole, at the point where all compass needles point to. Again, it is the center of all attraction of evil. Geomagnetic North Pole, the point that the Earth's magnetic field points to all the forces of the galactical heavens, and Shaitan gathered many followers to help him focus mischief on that point. It produces enormous power and energy. Tiamat's magnetic field directs particles from Shams and the Sun towards North Magnetic Pole, colliding with atmospheric particles and changing their electrical charges. The display spans the skies 140 miles up. Behold, the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. Shaitan's star is the demon star. They weren't following the true star from the east. Shaitan's child was born at the same time the heavenly child was born, 2,000 years ago. The South Pole be the opposite end. You cannot see Polaris from the southern hemisphere. Its sign is the Southern Cross. Shooting stars and meteorites are cursed by El, the Most High. Confuse not the Southern Cross with the false cross decoy, a road sign. 2 bright stars pointing to the South Pole, but it has no starlight. coal sack black. The southern Arctic Circle, latitude degrees south 66.6, between 66 and 6 degrees north, and 66 and 6 degrees south in all seasons, all times move east by the stick and the shadow. A system used by the elders, the ancient, set a stick perpendicular to the earth, casting shadows according to the movement of the sun. The elders use what you now call Cleopatra's needle, with marks for a 12-hour day. On the hour and the half hour, they marked the end of the shadow with small sticks or rocks with short spaces between the marks, and drew a north-south line at a 90-degree angle through the markers. At shadow hour, the elders plotted the stars according to the position of Polaris to chart their courses from traveling the heavens and entering and leaving the atmosphere. Ancient astronomical observatories included Stonehenge, Angkor Wat, a temple at Amun-Ra at Karnak, and Karkal Temple at Yucatan, and the temple at Cusco, Peru. The shadow and stick principle used in Kemet worked beginning at what appears to be sunrise, when the crossbar was placed facing east so that its shadow would fall on the long arm at the place of the first hour, the first of 6 hours till noon. At noon, it was turned around, facing the afternoon sun, and it was allowing it to cast its shadow on the long arm, measuring the time to what appears to be sunset. During the periods of worship, the color of the sky corresponds to certain elements of the earth. When these particular colors no longer adorn the heavens, that time for that particular prayer is out for believers and in for Azazel's followers. The devil also prays as the sun appears to rise at Fajr, and makes prayer when the sky be blue steel in color, and at noon when it is nickel, and at evening prayer when it is silver, at shadow when it is gold, or when one sees it taken on a copper tone to onyx. There are 2 spots on Tiamat, the earth, where all the clocks show correct time regardless of whether they are slow or fast, or even spotted altogether. The 2 spots are the 2 terrestrial poles, north and south, which are incarnate on Earth. All time zones converge at the poles, where the meridians merge latitude 66.6 north. At the poles, any movement is identical with the whole 24-hour period of the day. So, if a person were to rise at 9 to go to work in Alaska, he would go to work 12 hours. Before a person is going to work at 9 in South America, before daybreak can be the point before the breaking point of dawn. This is the time when Azazel starts doing mischief for the day, right as the rays of the sun are coming up over the horizon. Before you rise, Shaitan is already at work. He got a head start on you, having already figured out and plotted what you are going to do and say for the day. The devil works in sets of 6. The New Babylon acquired its dozen, from which hours, minutes and seconds are derived, and this is how he comes to you, every 6 seconds, 6 minutes, 6 hours and 6 years. This is so he will know exactly which of those third seconds of 6-second intervals to slide in. Measure Shaitan's time. The sun on the 21st of June, the sun of the 21st of December. Zenith is the highest point above your head. Nada is the lowest point, Zenith being the hottest point of your day when Shaitan prays the 6-hour noon. And Nada is the darkest point or the lowest point where the jinns and other creatures of shadow time are most active, the 6-hour. 999 equals 900 plus 90 plus 9, or 666 equals 600 plus 60 plus 6. 12 noon midday be the same time everywhere on Earth, and every place has noon at a different time, thus the zenith or noon never ends. The devil's time to pray is always in. The devil works in sets of 6, standard time zones, US 6, Canada 6, world time zone 24 in number, symbolic of the 24 elders. 2 plus 4 equals 6, 4 6s equals 24. The 4 and 20 time zones are marked at intervals of 10 and 5 degrees longitude. Eastern time zone, 75 degrees longitude, 7 plus 5 equals 12, 2 6s. Central time zone, 90 degrees, inverted 6. Mountain time zone, 105 degrees, 1 plus 5 minus 0 equals 6. Pacific time zone, 120 degrees, 12 plus 0 equals 12, 2 6s. Yukon time zone, 135 degrees, 1 plus 3 plus 5 equals 9. Atlantic time zone, 60 degrees, 6 plus 0 equals 6. Alaska, Hawaii time zone, 150 degrees, 1 plus 5 minus 0 equals 6. Worldwide time zones are divided at 0 degrees. Greenwich, England, the home of the Queen, harlot. 12 east and 12 west, equaling 23 full time zones and 2 half. The clock is divided into 2 12-hour periods, 4 sixes, 60 minutes to the hour, 60 seconds to the minute's hand, 5 minutes for the minute hand, 5 seconds for the second hand. When the international dateline, which is located at the middle of the Pacific Ocean, 180 degrees longitude on the western side of the world, is on the opposite side of the earth, away from Shamsun, the sun. It is 12 midnight or 12 o'clock shadow time at IDL, 2 sixes, and it is 9 o'clock PM in Tokyo, who is the dragon in the sea. Tokyo is the third 6, thus 666 covers 3/4 of the planet Earth at 12 o'clock shadow hours, the witching hour. Also, when this occurs, all places on Earth have the same date. 180 degrees meridian is the 180 degrees of Jinn. When on the west you add a day, when on the east you lose a day. Who divided the equinox? Ali Abdul Hassan of Cairo, Egypt. He was a sage and soothsayer who divided the equinox into 12 parts. What is the equinox? When the day and shadow hours are the same length. This established a 60-minute hour. Before, it had varied with the seasons for 7,000 years. What of the star? Lucifer was a star that exploded or fell from the heavens, and like an exploding star, has not stopped expanding, falling. In space there is no bottom. He's the center of attraction, like the nucleus of a star, which attracts everything towards itself, but does not overload, because of the balance between the gravity of the star and the pressure at the core. Exploding stars overload and explode, spreading themselves out in space to begin new stars. Stars cannot be destroyed, for matter cannot be destroyed by man, only changes form. So when the star Shaitan explodes, it is not destroyed, but is beginning life anew, as new stars, novas, supernovas, and new centers of attraction that will pull in the gases and disperse elements, devilishment into form, and substance to form new suns, stars to shine in the heavens, attractive to the eye of the innocent and worldly alike. For some willfully become suns, stars of Shaitan. A star headed towards explosion begins like any other star. Whether or not it's going to explode depends on its mass, how much it weighs. Exploding stars are called novas and supernovas. Shamsun, your sun, is a star, but it became a sun because it's the center of your solar system. Enoshites look towards the sun for life and growth. Shaitan's star has to compete with the sun and make humankind look towards him instead. The star's mass is measured according to the relationship to the mass of the sun. The sun's mass is equal to 2 times 1033 g. The symbol M is for the sun's mass. The small circle dot beside the M is the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic for the oneness of Elyon El, the Most High, called the sun disk. It was the universal and all-powerful representative of the life-giving properties of the sun. Thus the symbol is directly related to its use in the symbol for the solar mass. M equals mass and O equals sun. 1.4 M is the limit. Nuclear fusion is taking place and the process is begun. The hydrogen force center of the star is now burning itself towards the exploding. 7 cycles of burning, beginning with hydrogen. Cycle 1, hydrogen burning makes the core grow. At 2 million Fahrenheit, it creates a large core of helium. Cycle 2, helium is burning. Reactions begin with helium as the major fuel source. The temperature is 1 million degrees, creating now 2 sources of energy. 1 helium burning near the center, 2 hydrogen burning further out. Cycle 3, because of the helium burning, the core becomes oxygen neon. With neon being the major fuel source, it increases the mass and begins to shrink. All of these phases, burning off one element and the production of another, takes place right one after the other, down to the 7th degree. The more it shrinks, the more the temperature rises from 300 million degrees on up, and nuclear activity is stepped up. Cycle 4, at 600 million degrees, the neon is eliminated and magnesium is produced. Around this core of magnesium, neon continues to burn in its phase. Oxygen is also at the core with magnesium. Now there is a total of 4 phases: A, oxygen and magnesium; B, oxygen and neon; C, helium; D, hydrogen. Cycle 5, the nucleus shrinks again. temperature increases to 1,005,000,000 degrees and begins oxygen burning, oxygen being the major source of fuel. This builds silicon and other heavier elements, which feeds the burning process. Cycle 6. The phases have increased to 6. A. Silicon nucleus. B. Magnesium burning. C. Neon burning. D. Oxygen, neon and carbon. E. Helium burning. F. Hydrogen burning. Once oxygen burns out, the nucleus shrinks again and the temperature rises to 100 million degrees plus. In excess of 1,000 million degrees, radiation production steps up to 2 rays, gamma rays, and pressure increases to 100 trillion pounds per square inch. This intense radiation strips the nucleus of particles, forming other elements. Cycle 7. The silicon core creates iron. The core shrinks again and temperature continues to rise. There are now 7 phases or regions encircling and inclusive of the nucleus. A. Iron burning. B. Silicon burning. C. Oxygen burning. D. Neon burning. E. Carbon burning. F. Helium burning. G. Hydrogen burning. The inside of the star now more or less resembles an onion. The higher the temperature rises, the faster the core shrinks. At 5,000 million degrees, the iron changes back to helium. Thus, is completed the changing of 554 million tons of hydrogen into 550 million tons of helium, with a loss of only 4 million tons of material mass in the process. The nucleus is now too small to maintain itself. It cannot any longer produce the energy that it needs to maintain the pressure required to stabilize it with the gravity of the star. The gravity of the star overcomes the pressure at the core and the star collapses. The sudden collapse raises the temperature dramatically, and because it's too weak to produce the energy it needs to burn off more material and balance the rise in temperature as it explodes, the 7th cycle of the evolution of this star shatters it, blasting bits of itself out into the furthest reaches of space, not destroying it, but multiplying itself by the hundreds of thousands, dispersing into space as interstellar gas and dust. The gas is mostly hydrogen. As gravity pulls, temperature rises. At 2 million degrees Fahrenheit, nuclear fusion begins and many other stars are born. The sons of Shaitan are born again. They themselves are little centers of attractions to wickedness and the law of sin. The escape velocity of the bits of gas and dust is 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers per second. The radiation rate is 2 million times that of the sun. What ignorance can be greater than to pretend to be ignorant of El, the Most High, the Creator, the Rab, the sustainer of all knowledge of the universes? Humans look to his own body, the wonderful organism that works in the most superb way, and uses it to achieve his own existence. Yet Enoshites overlook the engineer that designed and produced this machine, the original creator who made this unique living being of lifeless earth, black mud, carbon, calcium and sodium and more, and put evolution into motion. He witnesses a superb plan in the world but ignores the planner. El, the Most High, planned every facet in the universe, no question about what's right and wrong. If they had believed in El, the Most High, and had faith, there would have been no doubt. All the prophets of El, the Most High, were sent to guide the Enoshites. They knew that it was law for Enoshites to wear the holy garb. This is the dress that is mentioned in the Scroll of Revelations, the 1st degree, the 13th verse, which states, "In the middle of the 7 golden candlesticks was one who resembled the Messiah Jesus, son of Mary, the adopted son of a male living being named Joseph, clothed in a long outer garment down to his feet, and he had a sash-like belt of gold around his chest." The sash or girdle that is worn around the waist is the dress of the righteous. Is this a distinction between the faithful and the kafir? The faithful know it is the law not to cut off all of your beard nor the corners of your head. It's prohibited in all of the scriptures to partake of intoxicants. As fishers of men, a true disciple casts his line, propagates the words of El, the Most High, and he fishes out, reaches for those who are seeking the truth, and he reels them into the tabernacle of the Most High. But for the person who knows the law and is not teaching it, seeks to deceive, to cover over, to ride a thing, to cheat, to dupe, to mislead, but mainly to double-cross. In their hearts, they shortchange others in truth, by confounding truth with falsehood. All will return to El, the Most High, humankind and human being.